Thanks for stopping in. I was going to edit this more, but I no longer care. I'm very slow at editing it, and I think this is time sensitive at this point because some things need to be addressed sooner than later. So I hope you overlook a little bit of the unprofessionalism here. I will look to re-edit the video and re-release it in the future. In the meantime, please bear with me. This statement by Trump is why I am pushing this out. It was made this morning, so I want to get this out today if I can. This is very dangerous rhetoric as far as I'm concerned. He says, do the people of Minnesota really want to live in a community in which there are thousands of already convicted murderers, drug dealers, and addicts, rapists, violent, released, and escaped prisoners, dangerous people from foreign mental institutions and insane asylums, and other deadly criminals are too dangerous to even mention? All the patriots of ICE want to do is remove them. Fear not, great people of Minnesota, the day of reckoning and retribution is coming. That, combined with Kristi Noem's podium that says one of ours, all of yours, saying if a single one of them is attacked, that there will be group punishment for the actions of one person. This is the blaming of all Democrats for one's actions. This is blaming all protesters for one's actions. This is, if one person does something, we are rounding everyone up and holding everyone accountable for it. This is direct fascism in policy form. Why do they feel that this is necessary? Why is there consistent need for them to say things like...
And it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day.
I wanted to go through and see why. How many ICE agents have been killed by protesters over the years? So I went through their memorial, and here's what I found. Thank you so much. I will look to re-edit this in the future. I do misspoke. I do misspeak a few times in the video. Everything will be edited or annotated somewhere. Thank you again. I think this is too important not to just put out. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I found it pretty interesting. I've seen a lot of the claims of attacks on ICE agents, and I had an interesting question pop in my head. When was the last time an ICE agent was killed? I don't remember hearing about it, but I am, I could be sheltered, could be in an echo chamber. So I Googled it, and I found that ICE has a fallen officers page. This is the official ice.gov page. They have a fallen officers page. 1915 to 1925. Fallen officers page. Man, this is actually a beautiful little memorial. This is actually nice. But that scroll was a little bit short to me to go all the way back to 1915. But we don't have to go all the way back to 1915, I'm sure. So let's start going through and see, because it's by most recent to oldest. Let's go through and see how many when the last time let's go through and see the last time that an ICE agent was killed by a protester out in the streets. Okay? We can say hit by a vehicle. We can say shot. We can say anything at all. How many were killed by protesters out in the streets? How scared should these ICE agents be of protesters? So, let's start going through. Jordan Love, assistant special in charge, died October from complications of multiple myeloma after recovering from work he did at the World Trade Center on 9/11. Beautiful memorial. I'm glad that it is here. Thank you so much, Joseph S. Love, for your work that you did for this country. Robert C. Castoni Jr., cancer, ground zero, 9/11, the terrorist attacks. Thank you, again, for your contributions. Every single ICE agent on here should be respected. Every single one. Let's see how long it takes to get to that person. Died of complications of COVID-19. I expect there's going to be a couple of them. It's an unfortunate situation. It affected a lot of us. Rachel Elizabeth, I wish that you were still here with us. It is unfortunate that you are not. Pete Christopher Egan, COVID-19. Brian Wayne Turner, COVID-19. William Clark Hayes, COVID-19. David Eric Mize, COVID-19. Rosa E. Vasquez, COVID-19. And I wish that these worked. I want to show you this doesn't work because I went through it before. And they don't work, unfortunately. It only works for the same one. I wish our government websites worked a little bit better to make this video better, but, you know, they're busy. Bradley Cakeham, COVID-19. These are all unfortunate. I don't want a single person to die from COVID-19, but unfortunately, many did, obviously. Olympia J. Turner, COVID-19. Man. Roberto C. Cantu, COVID-19. He sucked, man. Miguel A. Ortiz, COVID-19. Ronald H. Hunter Jr., COVID-19. James J.D. Jim Dale Holdman Jr. Oh, here we go. First one. There it is. 2021. We can stop our search here. July 5th, 2021. James Dale Holdman Jr. died after sustaining a fatal gunshot wound to the chest. There we go. As a result of an accidental discharge of his service-issued weapon. S.A. Holdman was on duty at the time of the incident inside the secured parking area of an agency-leased space. So this person accidentally discharged his weapon and killed himself. Not what we were looking for. We're going to have to keep going. Unfortunate circumstance. I'm sad that he died. I don't want any of these ICE agents to be dead. But I'm sure that the modern ones have to be justified in fearing for their lives, so we'll get there. We'll get there. Bradley J. Harris, COVID-19. Louis H. Aguirre. Aguirre? I'm pretty bad at that. Not COVID. Oh, cancer. World Trade Center again. Cancer. We might get a couple more of those. COVID-19. Danny K. Lautner Jr. Lautner? I would say Lautner. Danny K. Lautner Jr. COVID-19. Juan Rojas. COVID-19. Ronald R. Phillips. COVID-19. Dennis P. McCarthy. Cancer from 9/11. Timothy A. Inslee. While on an official assignment in Indonesia, Special Agent Timothy A. Inslee contracted dengue fever. That, rest in peace, Timothy A. Inslee. Dengue fevers, that sucks. There's, 20 to 40,000 people that die of dengue fever a year. It was bound to happen to an ICE agent at some point. Unfortunately, Timothy A. Inslee. So now, before we get to a protester killed one, we get a disease from Indonesia. Thomas M. Wisterthy? Wisterthy. That's an awesome name. Wisterthy. Thomas M. Wisterthy and mustache to go, man. Look at this. World Trade Center cancer. Man, it is unfortunate. Once again, a lot of heroes in these that I'm going through. Oh, here we go. Well, no. Brian P. Beliso. Brian P. Beliso. Deportation officer Brian P. Beliso suffered a heart attack when engaged in a foot pursuit of a fugitive. So it was someone that he was chasing, and he died of a heart attack. It wasn't from anyone attacking him. Now, at least this is someone dying out in the field. So the first time that we have someone dying out in the field is 2016. We've hit 9.5 years ago. And he died of a heart attack while chasing somebody. Not because he was attacked. So that's unfortunate, and obviously I don't want him to be dead. J. Scott McGuire. Sustained when struck by vehicle. Oh, maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Died from injuries he sustained when struck by a vehicle while working in Miami, Florida 9 days earlier. McGuire and his partner were entering a taxi cab when an impaired driver hopped the curb and struck both agents. So, hit by a drunk driver. Hit by a drunk driver showed up before killed by a protester. Robert T. Williams. Cancer from the World Trade Center. Edward J. Smith. Result of cancer from the World Trade Center. This is a long one. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Jamie Jorge Zapata. Jamie Jorge Zapata and Special Agent Victor Avila were driving between Monterrey and Mexico City, February 15th, when gunmen stopped their car and opened fire on both agents. Not in America. In the field, not a protester, maybe targeted towards law enforcement, maybe, but not an American. So not a radical left Democrat, not some violent domestic terrorist, not a protester. So I guess we continue, but we've got another step closer. Another step closer. We'll get there. We'll get there, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll get there at some point. Where was I now? Oh, man. Edits. Oh, there we go. That's why. I accidentally scrolled down at some point. David Gray Wilhelm. Assistant Special Agent in Charge, David Gray, assigned to the Atlanta Special Agent in Charge office and was killed March 11th after he was ambushed at his residence by fugitive Brian G. Nichols. Nichols escaped from police custody at the Fulton County Courthouse hours earlier, having shot and killed Superior Court Judge Roland Barnes, Deputy Sheriff Hoyt Taisley, and court stenographer Julie Ann Brandow. In addition to shooting and severely injuring Deputy Sheriff Sergeant Cynthia Hall. After identifying Wilhelm as a federal agent, Nicholas shot Wilhelm, then stole Wilhelm's badge, credentials, service weapon, and vehicle before proceeding to take a woman and her small child hostage. Tragic situation. Unfortunately, it sounds as though this was not a protester. This is somebody who escaped jail. I mean, an escaped convict came up as a murderer of an ICE agent before a protester did. I'm starting to get worried here because this is now 2005. We are 20 years ago. In March, it'll be 21 years for this incident. Continue. Lorenzo Roberto Gomez. Immigration enforcement collapsed during a special response training session with symptoms of dizziness, ringing in his ears, and confusion as his surroundings. Acute kidney failure. Heat-related injuries. So, dehydration, unfortunately. Tommy Kwok Chin, detention officer, assigned to Seattle District Office when conducting detention operations related to an interdicted group of 151 migrants from the People's Republic of China on the tiny island of Tainan, a remote Pacific island off the coast of Saipan. Chin contracted a severe bacterial infection during the processing and detention of the migrants and died as a result of the fast-spreading infection. In 99. Pedro J. Rodriguez Franco, assigned the Caribbean Air Branch in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, was on a special mission to relocate all U.S. Customs aircrafts from project landfall areas of Puerto Rico ahead of Hurricane Georges, after an aircraft collided with another U.S. Customs aircraft on the same special mission. was knocked unconscious when the aircraft flipped upside down and drowned before he was rescued. Plane crash. Before a protester. Gary Paul Friedley, probably. Gary Paul Friedley. Special Agent Gary Paul Friedley, assigned to the Douglas, Arizona resident agent in charge office, was a passenger in an unmarked police vehicle that ran into the side of a large hauling truck as it was turning left. They were on duty en route to investigate reports of drug smuggling activity. So not, in regards to them, not a protester. Anti-smuggling unit detail. Okay. Juan Gilberto Reyes Orellana. Yeah. I've never seen that last name before. Orellana. I like it, though. And in pursuit of a truck carrying a suspected undocumented aliens when a tractor-trailer collided with an unmarked police vehicle. So this was in a pursuit. This is in the field, at least. And he died in a pursuit of someone, but it wasn't a protester or domestic terrorist that killed him. And we're back at 1998 now. Agent Manuel Zurita the 7th. San Juan, Puerto Rico. We're going to count this. Just if Puerto Rico would count. It's a United States territory, so we'll give them that. If it is. Assisting the U.S. Secret Service on presidential protection detail when Clinton was in the U.S. Virgin Islands. During the maritime protection detail, Zurita's vessel struck a coral reef, and he was severely injured. Boat crash. Anthony S. Minetto. We're no longer seeing 9/11 deaths because we're earlier than 9/11. Was on duty and returning to his office when he was involved in a minor traffic accident. The driver of the second vehicle immediately exited the vehicle, approached Minetto, and shot him 6 times with a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol. It sounds like road rage. It was a person, but the person was not a protester. Didn't look like it was domestic terrorism. It looks like it was a road rage incident. But this is, again, the next theoretical closest. This is actually, while on duty, out in the field, shot by somebody. By somebody. 1997. But we still have yet to see a protester. Paul Douglas ICE. Assigned to Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Alfred P. Muir Federal Building in Oklahoma when a bomb... Oh! The Oklahoma City bombing, where 163 people died. It's unfortunate that he was there. Obviously, I don't wish him dead or any of these agents dead. Make sure I have to say that every once in a while, because it might come off that I might not be on the side of these ICE agents by revealing this information a little bit. Claude Arthur Medeiros. That's how I would say it. Also, Oklahoma City bombing. David Edmund Deloach. Air Interdiction Officer. Was assigned to the Jacksonville Aviation Branch. Was conducting anti-drug operations in Georgia while riding the U.S. Customs in a Black Hawk helicopter with his colleagues. U.S. Customs pilots and Georgia of Investigations pilot agent. During the enforcement operations, their helicopter struck power lines over the Altamaha River. All on board were killed. Plane, boat, helicopter, foreign disease, Oklahoma City bombing, 9/11, COVID, Carl Richards Talifus, assigned to the Jacksonville Aviation Branch. Oh, it's the second gentleman. Their third gentleman. I'm going to say their names. Carl Richard Talifus, Alan John Klump. Klump. George Reyes Serenz, customs pilot. Helicopter crash was the same one? No. July 14th, 93, November 2nd, 89. Another helicopter crash. We're now prior to my birth in 1991. We might as well go through the rest. Assigned in the Riverside, California, David Louis Crater, piloting a Cessna, conducting routine radar alignment exercises. Aircraft crashed along the U.S.-Mexico border. Plane crash, again. Also plane crash. James Darrell Taylor, unfortunate. Another plane crash. 86. Officer John Edwin Hollingsworth, San Angelo, Texas, and his colleague conducting narcotic smuggling interaction activities when their Cobra helicopter experienced engine failure and crashed. John Edwin Hollingsworth, is that the same? Besides the Air Interaction Office and his colleague, U.S. Customs were primary narcotic smuggling. Well, why are the dates different then? Am I crazy? Their memorial is wrong. Their memorial is for the next gentleman. So I'm not sure how Mr. Glenn Robert Miles Sr. passed away. I do not know. It is unfortunate that the ICE website, we are at February 21st, 1986, their Wall of Honor, where they respect these heroes who died, has the wrong person's obituary, whatever we want to call these, underneath his name. I wish they would get that fixed so that way Mr. Glenn Robert Miles Sr. Can have his proper respects. But we do know that John Edwin Hollingsworth is the person who died in the helicopter crash. Morley Lester Miller, assigned to the Air Interaction Office, his colleague, Air Interaction Officer Hollingsworth. Okay, so these two died. These two were the gentlemen that passed away. James Bernard Fuller was engaged in agency-required physical training activities when he suffered a fatal heart attack. George J. Spencer, okay. This could be it. U.S. Customs Patrol Officer George J. Spencer, assigned to the New York Special Agent in Charge Office, attempted to apprehend two suspects after they stole a vehicle. The suspects fatally shot Spencer after he chased them into an alleyway. 1981. Again, slightly closer. Not a protester. Not a domestic terrorist. Roger L. von Amelungsen. Roger L. von Amelungsen. Signed New York Special Agent in Charge Office, was shot and killed in his attempt to apprehend a suspect who had just robbed a cab driver in Queens. Killed in the line of duty, Los Angeles, California. Dennis L. Van Patten. Now we just have vagueness that we can't even tell. We have vague killed in the line of duty from 1980. I think I need to make that very, very clear. That is 46 years. vague in the line of duty 46 years ago before we have a single one killed by a protester. Stabbed to death while on duty. Maybe. We're getting back to 1979. Star Wars came out this year. The first one. Like, the first one. Not episode one. The first one. Automobile accident. John M. Lacey. Was accidentally shot and killed in Franklin County, Georgia. The deputy sheriff's shotgun discharged, striking Singleton in the head. We have a Customs and Border Patrol agent accidentally killing another Customs Border Patrol agent. A Customs and Border Patrol agent. Custom Border Patrol agent, like you customize them yourself, which is what Trump is trying to do. Which is why they all look like they're randomly generated characters. We have an ICE agent killing an ICE agent before we have a protester killing an ICE agent. And we're back in 1975. Undercover narcotics operation. When the suspect became spooked and started firing his weapon, paralyzed below the chest, he died approximately 2.5 years later after the incident. Unfortunate. All of these are unfortunate. Renault R. Behe. William Halley, killed in the line of duty. Vague again. Could be. Joseph Monahan. Albert Feld, conducting removal operations in the vicinity when a transportation van he was driving left the travel lanes of Interstate 8 and crashed into the rear of a large refrigerated truck. Field and 13 other occupants of the vehicle died as a result of the accident. So this person crashed a truck transporting removal operations. Accidentally crashed a truck full of people, full of immigrants, into another truck, killing himself, and 13 other people died and another 6 injured. Before we have shot and killed in the line of duty as he tried to apprehend a suspect. And this is where we're at this point, unfortunately. And that's, let me say his name, Charles J. Bachensyke. Louis David Dixon, Customs Patrol Officer Louis David, shot and killed in the line of duty, trying to apprehend a suspect. We're getting back to the point that it is so far back, it is becoming so vague. We almost certainly have never had, and we most certainly will not have, an actual confirmed killing of an ICE agent by a protester ever. Ever. William Henry Phillips engaged in enforcement operations attempting to undocumented from entering the U.S. from Mexico, shot and killed by the suspect who fled to Mexico following the murder and was substantially arrested by Mexican authorities. So, not a protester, was someone... Vehicle accident, Timothy M. Worden. John Stellathan, killed in the line of duty. Benjamin Burt Stone. Here's the detailed one. Tim Allen and Jim Riggs. Were these... No, okay. Smugglers Bend on the Rio Grande River, approximately 2 miles south of Brownsville, Texas. They were patrolling. So arrested a group of Mexican smugglers, attempted to lead them to a small house where some of the contraband was stored. Overpowering Stone, the smugglers seized the pistol and shot him to death. So actual narcotics things. These, no one has ever... Norfolk, Virginia, George M. Bacon, George D. Joyce, was delivering breakfast to a detainee when the detainee attacked him with a knife. That was 1949. And here we have Frank E. Chaffin. 1948. Crashed a plane with 28 Mexican nationals on it, taking them to El Centro, California. Plane caught fire, the wing fell off, and the crash killed all on board. George E. Spencer drowned in the Rio Grande River while on duty in Texas. Anthony Causa, fatal heart attack after lifting excessive weight while assigned in Blaine, Washington. John Fassett suffered fatal heart attack while on duty. Loy C. Henry, shot and killed by a man hired by smugglers. Daniel A. Romberger, shot and killed by rum runners when he refused to accept a $2,000 bribe. Bootleggers showed up before a protester. 1932 bootleggers showed up before a protester. Arnold W. Gilbert. Serious injuries sustained in an automobile accident. 5 chances left. 1929. Arthur M. Beeman. Killed in the line of duty. Any of these could have been it. But the oldest line of duty one was 1970. That's 55 years ago. Agent C.N. Titcomb was struck and killed by a trolley car. We have trolley car. We have boat. We have plane. And now we have trolley car. Before protester killed. Gerardo Pescara. Killed in line of duty. Generally, don't know. They could be. I don't think they were protesters. Because, I mean, none of the other ones have been. You know what I mean? Special Agent Edward Billings Webb was on patrol and searching for rum runners. 26 bootleggers. And finally, Joseph Sittler. U.S. Customs Special Agent Joseph Sittler gathered his colleague, former Texas Ranger Charles Craighead, and 3 other Texas Rangers, Eugene B. Hewlin, Harry Trollinger, and A.P. Cummings, to capture Francisco Chico Cano and his gang on May 24th, 1915. When Sittler and his posse arrived at Pilares Canyon, where Cano and his gang were located, they observed stolen horses in the canyon. Are you feeling out of touch yet? Sittler split the group to enter the canyon. Trollinger, Krieger, and Cummins started up one side of the canyon when they came under heavy fire and retreated. Sittler and Hewlin were pinned down on the other side of the canyon, believing Sittler and Hewlin to be dead. Surviving officers walked 4 miles to a ranch and summoned help. The next day, they found Sittler and Hewlin stripped of their clothing with numerous gunshot wounds, unrecognizable from having been beaten with large stones. Cano was indicted for the murders of Sittler and Hewlin, but was never prosecuted, instead becoming a captain in the Revolutionary Mexican Army. He retired to his ranch in Mexico and died peacefully in August 28, 1943. So the answer is 0. More bootleggers have killed ICE agents than protesters. Diseases. Random car accidents. I didn't think I'd get through this entire list. I didn't. I did not think I would get through this entire list. I didn't think that every single one of them, 1, 2, 3, 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, plus 1, 14. If it was 20, it would be 80. So 76 plus 1, 77. Did I do that right? Maybe, probably, maybe not. Who knows? 77 approximately, if I did the math wrong in my head. 77 ICE officers have died. As a result of, these were all as a result of injuries. These are fallen. Officers and agents who protect our communities each and every day and have devoted their lives to public service, sworn an oath dedicating their lives, sometimes at the expense of their own, to ensure the safety of our nation and our communities. Even in the face of hostility from those who reject our nation's rule of law. And throughout evolving adversity, the brave men and women of this agency continue to demonstrate unwavering courage and devotion to our mission. ICE honors and pays tribute to the officers and agents who have made the ultimate sacrifice to our nation. 0 protesters have ever killed an ICE agent. But they fear for their lives so much that they are openly killing people in the streets and claiming fear. They're so afraid to show their faces because of the supposed fear. I know. It's fucking nuts, isn't it? I don't like it either. Mwah. I love you. You want up? Hopefully Happy Puppy fixes this video a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. I hope we get through this. So, in summary, no protesters have ever killed an ICE agent. I did not think that was even a possibility when I started reading this list. On screen now is just a slight tally that I did in Google Documents. As I went through, by my little math, I missed 5. I don't know where they are. We have information on every single one of them except the one memorial that was incorrect. And I think that's important to remind people that currently the evidence shows that ICE agents' fear of protesters is misplaced. It is not the people who are trying to protest and use their First Amendment rights that are the danger to ICE agents. Because of that, I think that it's important to remind you the rhetoric that we're seeing from Kristi Noem. One of ours, all of yours. It's never happened. But if it happens once, if one person does it, even if it's something along the lines of a false flag, it's not as if they have not accused people even prior to investigations. That is part of the entire issue going on in Minnesota right now. There's statements even prior to investigations. They are threatening a day of reckoning and retribution. Revenge. On everyone. If you're an ICE agent who came across this video because you wanted to know exactly how much your life is being threatened by protesters, what are the factors that have killed ICE agents in the past that you should look out for in your daily life? When you are out in the field doing your job. It's not protesters. It has never been protesters. So when you pull your gun and you point it at a protester, I hope you do so with the knowledge that your life has never been in danger. And I hope you understand what you're doing.